If this is legal, legality has lost all meaning. My nephew and I spontaneously decided to drive to the desert out near the Salton Sea in Southern California, where we were promptly pulled over into secondary inspection at a Border Patrol checkpoint. The tyrannical agents asked a myriad of personal questions and demanded to see my papers. We were put in a little holding pen and not allowed to stand up or speak. Two thugs with badges rummaged through my car for a good 15 minutes, then had what I assumed was a drug-sniffing German Shepherd dog go in and out of my car for another 10 minutes. After this 25-minute invasion of privacy, they didn't say a word, just handed me the car keys and my little pen. I asked why they did this to us, and she said the dog sniffed drugs or people. I then asked what about my sandwich, potato chips, and soda I had between the two front seats that the dog trampled all over, and she snarled, "Have a nice day." The Fourth Amendment requires a warrant issued by a judge showing evidence of probable cause, or you cannot legally be detained. Their actions are not constitutional, period. And unlimited submission does not equal freedom. There was no middle ground on this road trip. The only thing I saw in the middle of the road were yellow paint and dead possums. Oh, and one hell of a lot of injustice. How did these cretins get this much power? Well, justice no longer wears a blindfold and has morphed into the Just Us department, where judges protect judges, police cover for police, and lawyers watch out for lawyers. Making the ground rules as complex as possible is the strategy lawyers employ as they practice their pernicious art of writing contracts in a language that no one can understand. As common sense disappears, laws piled upon laws are enacted, leading to brain knots so that you must pay someone in a guild to navigate the onerous contracts and regulations. Their profits arise from creating confusion with the realization that he who gets to define the meaning of the words and terms controls the outcome of the discussion. Our mind is supposed to be our first line of defense, but the word noise jargon drowns out our common sense and ability to understand. When legal technicality is sought after and not the attainment of justice, one must realize the administration of law is profoundly rigged against the average man. I would prefer to be viewed as a citizen, not a potential suspect. Their probable cause affidavits must be studies in creative writing. Accountability ought never be under siege. And thankfully, some of us do not believe that anyone who wears a government costume must be obeyed without question. If you are okay with what happened to my nephew Jack Funkbutter and I, you need to change your hallucinin. Funny side note, when the female officer was informing us, anything you say can and will be used against you, she immediately cuffed Jack when he said, boobs. Yeah, they do love their blinkies. But some of us do not need black-robed tyranny redefining the content of the U.S. Constitution, including Jack's father, Barry Funkbutter. Believing that the Supreme Court is supreme in name only and that Barry was going to rant about law enforcement, Zeb clicked on his tape recorder. Think back on all of your encounters with law enforcement. Can you recall even one that was good or positive? Tell me, when you see a cop in your rear view mirror, do you gain a sense of safety or a sense of anxiety? 40 plus years ago, cops were much more friendly and interactive with neighbors and were truly looked up to and respected because they did indeed serve and protect. Respect and admiration are earned, as is scorn. And like politicians, lawyers, judges, and prostitutes, the police are legally allowed to lie to you. However, it is a felony for us to lie to them, even when we are not under oath. Now this cop, he gets it. Shouldn't they be friendly, courteous, and helpful? Shouldn't they be fair, honorable, and trustworthy? Tremendous resentment is brewing. The corruption and thuggery have risen to such high levels that when someone sees a policeman, they tremble in fear. By today's standards, most people are criminals. There are laws for everything, and the average American breaks 6 laws a day. Laws should be put in place to promote the general welfare, not as a giant revenue-generating matrix designed to rob the general public of their liberty and their money. Thus, the majority of their time is spent extracting wealth from those they are ostensibly supposed to serve and protect. Unfortunately, their motto has morphed into observe and collect. Mobile profit centers called speed traps are commonplace, and warnings, for the most part, no longer exist, as generating revenue is the only objective. Your 2 choices are to be polite, respectful, and subservient, or the attack on your wallet goes up exponentially. Cops pose more of a danger to your freedom and life savings than any gang, organized crime, or terrorist group. Remember, and worked for us, not the other way around. They are not rulers not to be questioned, challenged, or judged by those who pay their wages. Of course, there are good and bad people in every profession, but when you have that level of power, you must be infallible. If my barber screws up my haircut, I'm not concerned about my freedom being taken away or excessive money being extorted. I wish law enforcement did question things a bit deeper as their standard, "I don't make the laws, I just enforce them," is eerily similar to the "we were just following orders" defense used at the Nuremberg trials by the guards at Auschwitz. The United States government has the largest array of death toys in the world, and the Pentagon is donating their military surplus to middle American policing. This is a scary trend, and it may be time to question the wisdom of supporting giant unions of state employees that are given weapons and warfare equipment against anyone who differs from the government narrative. The watershed of problems are self-reinforcing. Being prepared means seeing the dangers that affect your life. Cops are one of those dangers.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Damn! Didn't think it was possible. But Barry is even kookier than the fictional Zebidah Funkbutter. And even though Billy Joe shot a man while robbing his castle and Bobby Sue took the money and ran, I just gotta say, right on.